What's up, guys? It's Coach Nate with Steel Strength Training, and today we're going to be talking about cortisol, stress, and weight loss. And in the video, we're going to discuss what is cortisol and what it does, symptoms of high cortisol. We're going to answer the question, can you lose weight with high cortisol? Then we're going to talk about why reduce stress levels and how to lower stress levels. Let's dive in. What is cortisol? Now, I pulled this definition straight from the Cleveland Clinic website, so we've got a nice technical definition for you. Cortisol is a glucocorticoid hormone that your adrenal glands produce and release. Your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. Okay, so what does cortisol do? Cortisol is so important, and before I go into this list, I just want to say that so many things in the health and fitness world get talked about in all or none terms, and it is not helpful because it's incorrect. Another example of this would be cholesterol, and we're not going to go into that in this video, but if you didn't have cholesterol, you would die. And so it's important that we just acknowledge cortisol is key to us having a great life. Today we're going to be talking about high cortisol, but low cortisol is actually, depending on, the levels of how high, how low are we talking, low cortisol levels are extremely dangerous and life-threatening. So we need cortisol to thrive, to live our best life, to be healthy and happy. We need cortisol. So I don't want to demonize it. I just want to say that. So what does cortisol do? Well, cortisol helps with energy production. It helps regulate your blood sugar. It helps regulate your blood pressure, and it helps reduce inflammation, among many other things. But that's a big deal, okay? Cortisol helps with energy production, blood sugar, blood pressure, and reducing inflammation. Now, what are the symptoms of high cortisol? Let me just say this. I'm not in any way trying to diagnose you. There are tests that you can do with your doctor to see, do I have elevated cortisol? So moving forward, I really just want to talk about, after this stage, number 2, the symptoms of high cortisol. I just want to talk about stress because, if you need to find out clinically whether your cortisol levels are high or normal, that's between you and your doctor. That's beyond my scope of practice. So I'll give you a few symptoms, but then moving forward, we're just going to talk about it in terms of stress, because we know that stress reduction is good, and by reducing stress, that will promote, it doesn't guarantee, you might have some other health issue going on, but it will promote or make it more likely that you have healthy cortisol levels. So stage 1 and stage 2, I kind of made these up. So again, this is not medical advice. But stage 1 of elevated cortisol, you actually are going to feel pretty good because, elevated cortisol, it increases your blood sugar, it increases energy production. Like, it's super important. Your cortisol rises first thing in the morning. It's typically highest in the morning at the dawn or soon after dawn. And so you've got this energy to get up and get out of bed and get your day started. And so that's a good thing. And when you increase those levels, you actually feel a little bit better for a time. Your body's in this fight or flight mode, but as long as you're not just like, your cortisol levels aren't through the roof, but they're just elevated a little more than normal, well, you kind of feel a rush. You've got a little extra energy, a little extra edge to work with. And so at first, it feels like a good thing. So you may not even notice that there's an issue, but under prolonged stages of stress, what will start to happen is you move towards more of a stage 2. And what happens here, so we increase energy production with high cortisol. We're burning through more energy. We're using more fuel. Well, part of that, all those processes that promote energy require vitamins and minerals. And so what happens is we burn through our vitamins and minerals, our reserves. And so eventually, you can start getting depleted of some of these things. Now, again, this is not medical advice. If you think you've got a vitamin deficiency, a mineral deficiency, go talk with your doctor. This is beyond my scope of practice. But I'm just saying, prolonged stress, we know it's not good for the body. We know it's harmful for the body to be under prolonged stress. And one of the things that happens is you start to like lose minerals, you start to lose vitamins, these things that you need. And so what does the body do as a response? Well, your body is smart. Your body wants to keep you alive. And yes, I think your body wants you to thrive. I believe you were created to thrive, but before you can thrive, you must survive. And so the way that it helps you survive is by actually slowing everything down. Slowing down your metabolism, slowing down your thyroid, so you're using less energy, so you're not burning through as much of your nutrients. Okay, so if you're healthy and you've got all these nutrients in your body, then yeah, it's go time, baby. Your body can crank up that cortisol and you can work, but eventually you will hit a wall. And so you might be able to go hard for 6 months, you might be able to go hard for 6 years, you might be able to go hard your whole life, but almost always, if you're living with elevated stress levels, you're going to run into issues, okay? And you very likely might run into health issues, all right? So now that brings the question up, well, can you lose weight with elevated cortisol? Well, yes, you can. You can lose weight with pretty much in any hormonal environment. Now, that doesn't mean you should. We're going to get into that in a second. But just to answer the question, yes, you can absolutely lose weight with very high levels of cortisol. It simply comes down to the calorie deficit. All right, people want to talk about hormones and all that. I think it's very, very, very important that we talk about hormones, because I think hormones influence how many calories are you burning throughout the day? What does your metabolism look like? Hormones also influence, do you have cravings? How much energy do you have to go work out? How much is your body, super hungry? Is it not? Whatever. Hormones play a lot into losing weight, because hormones affect how many calories you burn throughout the day and how many calories you eat. But at the end of the day, if you want to lose weight, you create a calorie deficit. Simple as that, okay? So if you're eating fewer calories than you burn in a day, you are going to lose weight, period. No matter what your hormonal, profile looks like, okay? So yes, you can lose weight with high cortisol, but in the long run, it will be more enjoyable. It is more likely that you'll succeed if you get your stress levels back to normal, okay, as best as you can. Because that way, you can lose weight in a way where you're not fighting your body. But if your body's constantly stressed, well, losing weight, yes, carrying around extra weight is a stressor, but also losing weight is also a stressor. And so the body doesn't want to lose a bunch of weight when it's under a lot of stress. You can force it. I've seen people do this. You can force it. You can cut your calories. You can fight your body. Your mind is stronger than your body, but you will have to pay the price eventually. And so I think it's very important that we reduce stress, that we actually get healthy first, get healthy, get in shape, and then focus on weight loss. I think it's much more likely that it's going to be sustainable, that you're going to hit your goal and be able to maintain it. Now, why should we reduce stress levels? All right, I made a few notes here. So we should reduce stress levels because first and foremost, being stressed out all the time sucks. It's not a fun way to live. We could probably end the list there. So next would be, it's good for physical health. If we reduce stress, your physical health should improve. Your mental health should also improve. And in the long run, reducing stress is going to mean more energy, you're going to be healthier, and it's going to be easier to maintain a lean, healthy body, something we all want. Now, how can we lower stress? These are some ways that you can lower stress, and they're very practical, so just take some or implement all, it's up to you. But these are the things that I've seen in my own life and with our clients have helped tremendously reduce stress. All right, so I think there's a couple things we want to look at. We want to look at like physical, right? We want to make sure we're giving our body the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals that it needs to thrive. So make sure the physical environment is healthy. And then we want to address the emotional, mental, spiritual side as well. I think if you only go after one, you're going to be like seriously missing out on some very good solutions, okay? All right, so how to lower stress. Let's talk about the physical. So number one, get plenty of protein and especially red meat. Red meat is chock full of nutrients, but make sure you're getting enough protein. You want to make sure you're getting vitamins and minerals. The best foods for that are going to be meat, fish, veggies, and fruits. All right. Next would be vitamin C. Vitamin C is specifically very good for the adrenals, which again, they produce the cortisol. They regulate the cortisol production. So vitamin C actually reduces stress. Epsom salt baths are especially helpful. And I think one of the main reasons that Epsom salt baths are helpful, I think there are more reasons than just this one, but one of the main reasons that Epsom salt baths are so helpful is because it's going to increase our magnesium levels. Magnesium is so important in dozens of processes in the body, and most of us don't get enough. That's another story for another day, but Epsom salt baths. You want to make sure that you get plenty of salt and other electrolytes. So the main ones that I look at are salt, potassium, and magnesium, okay? So having a good balance, and look, your body's smart. Your body, if it's healthy, it's gonna regulate your magnesium, your sodium, and your potassium levels. But you want to provide your body with magnesium, sodium, and potassium, okay? So I like to see people get magnesium from Epsom salt. Just my personal preference. You can look into supplementation and all that, but I'm not giving any recommendations on that. 1 to 2 cups of Epsom salt in a bath, soak 20 to 30 minutes. It's a game changer. Give it a shot. But magnesium, one of the things that it does is it helps regulate your sodium and potassium levels. In terms of potassium, you can just hop on Google. There's a whole list of foods. But one of my favorite things is orange juice because it's full of potassium and full of vitamin C, all right? 2 birds with 1 stone. And salt. Salt is also very important for the health of your adrenal glands, believe it or not. And so I think that a lot of people actually, again, not medical advice. If your doctor's told you otherwise, don't take this advice. But otherwise, I think that most people could probably stand to use more salt and that your body would actually be much healthier and more hydrated as a result. Speaking of that, you want to make sure that you're hydrated, but hydration isn't just about water. It's about water and having plenty of electrolytes as well, okay? You want to make sure that you're exercising. So you want to strength train. You can do short and intense aerobic exercise, sprints or something like that, and lots of walking, lots and lots of walking and movement. You want to make sure you get some sunshine. I've got some on my face right now. Plenty of sleep. Sleep is so important. You want to make sure you get enough sleep, okay? Enough, both quantity and quality. Now, I want to talk about, well, this is one more physical, and this would be singing. And I think this is both a combination of spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. But one of the things that singing does is actually stimulates the vagus nerves, and the vagus nerves are responsible for helping regulate your body's stress response, your fight or flight response. So singing is actually very good. Journaling, I think, is super important. Just all the stress and things that you have going on in your mind, get them out on paper. Pull them out so your mind can relax and you can deal with the problems out here instead of dealing with them in the chaos up here. So when we write things down, I found we pull the problems out. They become outside of us. They're no longer internal problems. And then we freed up mental space to then think through these problems individually. But until we put them on paper, they're just kind of jumbled around and clouding our thinking, making us feel more stressed. I think praying is super important. And then I would say spending time with family and friends. All right. So look, this is everything, not everything, but this is a lot of what you need to know about cortisol, stress, and weight loss. So number 1, stop demonizing cortisol. It's very, very important for helping you live your best life. It's just a matter of needing to keep it in check. And so what you should do is focus on stress. And so we went over, can you lose weight with high cortisol? Yes, but you should reduce your stress levels. It's going to make the whole process much better. We talked about why to reduce your stress levels, and then we talked about how to lower your stress levels. If you implement, when you implement one or more of the things on that list I gave you to reduce stress, please let me know in the comments below how it worked for you. Because I found each of these as individual things, but especially when done together, to be extremely powerful at helping people feel so much better.